Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some very fun battles in the Open Ultra League featuring a triple glass cannon team. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now the team is made up entirely of glass cannons that have extremely powerful nuke moves. We're talking Brave Bird, Close Combat, Poltergeist, and Focus Blast. This is definitely more of a team for fun than for climbing, but man, these battles are an absolute riot. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out the glass cannons in action in the Open Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, leading Staraptor into Pidgeot. Considering the double ghosts in the back, it's definitely nice to catch the normal type Pidgeot on the lead. Firing off the close combat from the Staraptor, that deals big damage to the Pidgeot, but now of course Staraptor is debuffed. Staraptor is going to commit the shield. We see the Feather Dance from the Pidgeot. Staraptor will be able to outpace the Pidgeot, but intentionally overfarms to play to the CMP tie. That's a really nice play, as Staraptor will be able to get the shield back, and now the opponent is not able to overfarm whatsoever as they're stuck going for the Feather Dance. We see an aggressive pivot into the Chandelure. Chandelure gets the farm down, denying Pidgeot a charge move. Opponent sends in Trevenant. Oh boy, did they not have a good response to Chandelure in the back. Flame Charge gets a shield from the Trevenant. Trevenant will be able to outpace the Chandelure. Even a Seed Bomb would probably KO. Chandelure is extremely glassy. Chandelure commits the shield, going for the Flame Charge. This will be lethal, and Chandelure will now be 2 stages boosted in the back. It's Cobalion, and look at the Incinerates go. They're firing off the Sacred Sword. This is double resisted, and that actually will not KO. Chandelure able to hang on with 1 HP, but gets double kicked down. Now in comes the Gengar. These double kicks are triple resisted on the Gengar. Gengar is very glassy, but thanks to the fast moves doing absolutely no damage, Gengar will be able to tank the Stone Edge as we see the opponent top left as the Shadow Ball comes through, and that's a good game. Moving into the next match, leading Staraptor into Giratina Altered. Giratina is going to fire off the Dragon Claw as soon as they get there, so Staraptor is going to be able to no-shield here. The nice thing is, Giratina will have very minimal fast move pressure, farm it up, and going for the Brave Bird on the CMP tied to the Dragon Claw. Brave Bird is going to hit for a lot of damage if it connects, which it does, getting Giratina deep into the red. We are going to see a shield from the Staraptor. Staraptor looking to farm up energy versus the Giratina, going for the Dragon Claw catch, but the opponent shows great patience, and this could be enough for the Shadow Sneak. Chandelure lets it go. It's actually an Ancient Power, and that does quite a lot of damage. Chandelure able to get the farm down, but barely has any health remaining. Opponent sends Togekiss into the Chandelure. Chandelure firing off the Flame Charge, and Togekiss will commit the shield. Togekiss gets the charm down, but now in comes Gengar. Gengar is running double nuke moves, able to make it to the Shadow Ball, and Gengar with incredibly high attack will be able to KO with the move if they let it through. In the back, it's Obstagoon. And honestly, this is looking like a winnable game. Staraptor has a charge move bank, so all Gengar has to do is make it to the Focus Blast, and that will ensure victory. Gengar makes it to the Focus Blast, and this will be game over for the opponent. Obstagoon shields the Focus Blast, but it's the combo play with the close combat. Staraptor one-shots the Obstagoon, and that's a good game. We've got a battle of birds in the next game, Staraptor versus Talonflame. We're actually going to see a save switch into Chandelure, and the opponent is going to respond with a Shadow Lapras. But oh my goodness, Chandelure wins CMP with the Poltergeist. Poltergeist does get shielded as the opponent respects the damage, and that is very unfortunate. Lapras will go for the Surf. We see the shield from Chandelure. Chandelure farming up, can't quite make it to its next charge move unless it commits a shield. Chandelure just gonna let this go, and this Shadow Lapras is gonna prove to be quite difficult to get rid of. Now, do you send in the Gengar or send in the Staraptor? In comes the Gengar. Gengar farming up, going for the Shadow Ball. This is definitely a situation where having a cheaper Shadow Punch might be nice, but the Shadow Ball, nevertheless, will get the KO. Opponent does have energy on that Talonflame, sending in the Staraptor, and Staraptor has a tough call to make. Is it the Flame Charge? Is it the Brave Bird? Lets it through. It's the Brave Bird, and that's gonna KO. In comes Gengar. Gengar farming up. It's an armored Mewtwo in the back, making it to the Shadow Ball, but the confusion goes through. So all the opponent has to do is shield the Mewtwo, and that's game over. Moving into the next match, it needs Staraptor into Swampert. The nice thing about this matchup is Swampert has absolutely zero fast move pressure, so they're entirely reliant on landing Hydro Cannons to do any meaningful damage. Hydro Cannon will connect, opponent save switches into a Giratina Altered, which will be answered by a Brave Bird. We've seen how much damage this can do, opponent lets it go through, and now we see a switch into Chandelure. Chandelure definitely not going to appreciate a Shadow Sneak or an Ancient Power. Giratina expecting a shield goes for the Dragon Claw, and they're going for Dragon Claw number 2. Can Chandelure hang on with 1 HP here? It cannot. It gets KO'd, and that is very unfortunate. Glass Cannons can output a lot of damage, but they are just extremely frail. Going to fire off the close combat here, hoping the double resisted damage is going to be enough to KO the Giratina. Giratina commits the shield, and at this point, I like this play. You just leave it all up to double nuke Gengar. In comes the Gengar. Gengar trying for the farm down, but Giratina makes the last second move. That is absolutely tragic as Gengar is forced to give up a shield. Opponent has Armored Mewtwo, and oh my goodness, the Armored Mewtwo's are out in force. Shadow Ball. Oh my goodness, wait, is there a chance here? Armored Mewtwo got KO'd. Opponent just needs to not respect the Shadow Ball, and there's a chance that Gengar can win this. Let's see, is the opponent willing to call the bait here? No baits. Full sending the Focus Blast. What does the opponent do? They shield, and that's game over. Picking up a tough lead in the next match, Staraptor into Melmetal. Melmetal has a lot of play against this entire team. We see a save switch into the Chandelure, Melmetal farming up, banking a move for later, and sending in Granbull. So they clearly do not have a good response to the Chandelure save switch. Chandelure going for it all, going for the Poltergeist, but we see the shield from the Granbull. Chandelure farming up, opponent lets Chandelure make another move. Flame Charge would be lethal here, so they have to double shield if they want to keep switch advantage. But it is incredibly deadly to go down shields to a team like this, because this team can hit for so much damage once you don't have any more shields. Close combat will be shielded. Staraptor going to try and go for the farm down, gets the farm down, and leaves with the close combat. This is big. Opponent sends in Giratina, hoping for the blind close combat, but that's not going to happen. Staraptor, big damage with the Brave Bird, sending in the Gengar, which will be answered by the Melmetal. Melmetal firing off the Rock Slide here. This is going to do so much damage to the Gengar. Gengar making it to the Shadow Ball, and that is a CMP tie. But Gengar, it's all attack, easily winning CMP and KOing the Melmetal. Giratina gets the farm down. It's on Staraptor. Staraptor has to make a charge move here, as the wing attacks I don't think are going to be enough to KO. Giratina goes for the Dragon Claw. Oh goodness, Giratina makes another Dragon Claw. Is this going to be enough to KO? Staraptor able to hang on and make the close combat. Staraptor glassy, but not glassy enough for the Giratina. Close combat KOs, and that's a good game. Tough lead in the next match, Staraptor into Walrein. Immediate save switch into the Chandelure. Opponent is going to respond with an Obstagoon. Chandelure able to make it to the Flame Charge, looking to put some pressure onto the Goon. Obstagoon commits the shield. Obstagoon throws on alignment, giving an entire Incinerate for free to the Chandelure. This Obstagoon is running Obstruct. They've buffed their defense, but bad news is Chandelure is just going to keep buffing its attack. Chandelure goes for the Flame Charge. Obstagoon is able to withstand that damage. We're going to see a no shield from the Chandelure, calling it's the Obstruct, but it's not. It's the Night Slash, and that will be lethal. Staraptor now gets a farm down, and this is nice, as Staraptor now has a shield advantage and an energy lead over the Walrein. Going for the close combat here. Opponent lets that through. That does massive damage. And now we're going to see a no shield from the Staraptor, leaving it all up to Gengar in the back. In comes the Gengar. Gengar potentially looking to try and go for the one shield farm down there. Unfortunately, doesn't get the Shadow Claw through due to some lag. Icicle Spear will be shielded. Opponent staying in, trying to make it to another Icicle Spear, and that's not going to happen. And now we see why they didn't switch, because in the back, they are running Nidoqueen. Gengar farming up, making it to the Shadow Ball, and this Shadow Ball will hit for massive damage onto the Nidoqueen. No shields left for the Nidoqueen, and they're now deep into the red. This is only a Poison Fang, but Gengar is running out of HP. Gengar shields the Fang, looks for the farm down, and gets it, securing the win. We see a familiar lead in the next match, Staraptor into Talonflame. Immediate counter switch into Chandelure. But due to the fact that switching takes a turn, Chandelure is one turn behind, meaning that is not actually CMP, and Chandelure just doesn't get a sneak. Calling the Flame Charge bait is big, farming up to the Poltergeist, goes for the extra Incinerate, but Chandelure is already at 100 energy, which means Chandelure doesn't get any additional energy until it throws a charge move. The Poltergeist will be thrown at the Talonflame here. Decision time for the opponent. They will commit their shield, and Talonflame gets the farm down, and this match is looking dire. Sending in the Staraptor, but this is a heavily boosted Talonflame. Staraptor committing the shield. Talonflame just going for the Flame Charge. Talonflame looking for the sweep and able to outpace the Staraptor. And this might be a 1v3 as Flame Charge will fully one-shot Talonflame. Very scary when it gets an energy lead, and that's exactly what it did. Energy lead, ramping up the damage. Opponent sends in Granbull, and they bring in Machamp to catch the move. Gengar had so much play in the back, but unfortunately, Granbull will get the charm down. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Staraptor into Heracross. Opponent is going to save switch into Nidoqueen, and Staraptor going to stay in here as they're going to fire off the Poison Fang. Poison Fang will do a lot of damage to the Staraptor. Staraptor able to hang on and fire off the Brave Bird. This is going to deal massive damage to the Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen commits the shield, and now we're going to see a counter swap into the Chandelure. Chandelure farming up. This is enough for a potential Earth Power. Chandelure calls the bait. It's the Earth Power. And oh my goodness, this is incredibly tough. Making it to the Brave Bird. Wasn't sure if they were going to be able to get there. Going for the close combat. Close combat, not quite going to be enough to KO. Gengar looking for the farm down here. As you can see, post that it was a misclick, missing the shield, and the Earth Power KOs. Hopping into the final match, sending Staraptor into Sirfetch'd. Immediate save switch by the opponent into Swampert. Staraptor going to stay in this matchup and fire off the close combat. Close combat will be shielded by the opponent. Staraptor staying in here, and now we're going to see Swampert at the back-to-back Hydros. I would have preferred to see Staraptor tank a Hydro Cannon before lowering its defense with the close combat, because typically it can tank a Hydro, whereas after the debuffs, unfortunately, it cannot. Staraptor farming up, firing off the close combat just before they get to the Hydro here. This will be lethal. Opponent commits the final shield, and we see the catch onto Chandelure, fully sacrificing the candle. But this resets the debuff on the Staraptor. In comes Staraptor, farming up and playing to the CMP tie with the Swampert. This close combat will be lethal, and Staraptor leaves debuffed, but with an energy head start. Is the opponent going to send back in that? Oh, yes, they are. They're going to send back in the Sirfetch'd, firing off the close combat, and this is going to hurt. Close combat from the Staraptor, rocks the Sirfetch'd. Opponent in the back, they have Golisopod farming up. Oh no, but the Golisopod goes for the X-Scissor. X-Scissor will KO the debuffed Mon, and now it's all up to Gengar. Gengar trying to make it to the Shadow Ball, but falls just short. Liquidation deals massive damage, and Gengar dies with the move. All in all, I thought these battles were a lot of fun. They're a good demonstration of the highs and lows that can happen when you're running triple glass cannon teams. There can be matches where the glass cannons are absolutely sweeping the competition, but also there can be games where going up against some very heavy meta picks that it can be quite difficult to use the glass cannons. Glass cannons are one of my favorite strategies to use when I'm looking to have some fun in Pokemon Go. It's definitely one of the more difficult things you can do because there's a very small margin for error considering how glassy the Pokemon that you're using, but man, when it goes right, it can be an absolute blast. So definitely a lot of fun battles, and man, it's going to be hard-pressed to find a team that's much glassier than this one. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.